Gamers! So, since it's Pride Month, I'm going to be 10% more gay with my fellow Mers out there, and I'm going to be extending the gay portion of my gamer intro. So, how's it going, my fellow gamers? We're going to be talking about something that I already talked about because this is the second time making the video since I didn't realize that the audio from my browser wasn't being picked up the first time I recorded it. So, you know, we're at that. We're going to be talking about Baldy McGee's theory here. And we're going to be thinking of or theorizing what's in Luocha's little coffin he's carrying around. You know, we're going to be taking some guesses, you know, looking at everything that we know already about Luocha's coffin and seeing if we can figure out what the heck's in that bad boy. So let's just get started with some of the things that Tectone himself discovered, Mr. Baldy McGee, and I'm going to be explaining to you why he's not just bald, but he is also incredibly wrong. So let's just look into this and see what he's got here.
Luocha, or as I will be referring to him as Otto, I want you to notice something.
They're the suspects.
Suspects immediately zooms in on Luocha. Just a casual stroll. Now, if we look here for, I wanted to keep going through here. Killed the character.
Skipping around a little bit.
And for some reason, Welt is nearby again. Now, why is Welt nearby again? Because, in case you...
This man is called Archive Apocalypse, also known as Otto from the Honkai Impact universe, and this is Welt from the Honkai Impact universe, and they both are the only characters that are canonically from the Honkai Impact universe that went and traveled to this universe. So each of these people are not from the Honkai Star Rail universe, so they also have their own counterparts, which I will get into in the future. But yeah, that's what we're working with right now. And so he goes into his theorizing and stuff right here. And from what I know, he's not a very good guy. Otto is not a very good guy from the Honkai Impact universe, and that's why Welt's keeping an eye on him. And that's why Welt's keeping an eye on Luocha. And let's go. He talks about how he thinks maybe Himiko's in the locked coffin, maybe not. And then he goes to his main theory, which he thinks that Jing Yuan's master, the only known character currently in the Honkai Star Rail main story, his master who's dead, is inside the locked chest or the locked coffin, and Luocha's gonna go up, throw the dead body in front of Jing Yuan. She's gonna come back to life, and Jing Yuan's gonna have to kill the master a second time. And that's his whole theory. And another thing he talks about here is how the voice actor leaked a splash art of what Jing Yuan's master's splash art looks like, and she said she's gonna be voicing her in game. And that doesn't mean like a cutscene. That means like actual in-game character, yada, yada, yada. So we're most likely getting the master as a playable character, but I don't believe that character is going to be from the coffin itself. I believe that there's going to be another reason that resurrects the character and brings her back. Maybe she's a weekly boss. Maybe she comes back and she's all there and she's not evil and has to be killed a second time. But I do think we're going to be getting her in the game at some point. I just don't think it's going to be in Luocha's coffin. And the reason that I think that is that there's a couple cutscenes. I don't have them here, but there's a couple cutscenes that Luocha's talking, and he's like, oh yeah, I've been here a couple of times. This isn't my first rodeo. Why does it look so disheveled? Why is everything so out of place? I trade here often. And that would just seem so weird that he made a promise with someone and also brings one of their lieutenant's corpses back and forth to trade with the place, but has never gone and dropped the corpse off to Jing Yuan for him to fight in a previous time. Why is he bringing it back and forth constantly whenever he does all these tradings and doesn't just bring it whenever they first met, whenever he first made that promise. That just seems weird that he would just carry it back and forth constantly. And here's one of my first theories I'm going into, and I'm gonna just let it play out right here.
Every life has its limit. Even the eons are not truly immortal and will eventually reach the end of their lives.
So he says eons aren't truly immortal, and then immediately looks over to the coffin that he's carrying, insinuating that maybe an eon is inside the coffin itself and is a big boy dead. Now, the only eon that I could at least find in the lore is the trailblazing eon called Akavili, who died from unknown circumstances. He passed away in an accident, and there is a very big possibility that this is the person that is inside the coffin, since he is the one. I say he, but we don't really even know the gender. They are the person that passed away that is also an Aeon. Now, if we look here, Akavili is known with the nameless group. So the nameless are mostly just referred to as trailblazers, but before they were known as the trailblazers, they were called themselves the nameless, and they rode along the express with Akavili. Now, our boy Luocha could have been, since he has the abundance powers, he could be immortal, and he could have been with Akavili back in the olden days. And there's a good possibility that he was there. He was one of the nameless, and he shared travels with Akavili during a time. But at the same time, he does say that, and I'll let this play out actually.
Let me ask you one more question. Do you know the person in the coffin?
Yes.
Friend?
No.
So, a sweetheart?
Oh, miss, whatever gave you that impression? The individual in the coffin is neither friend nor relative. We met only once. By chance, I made someone a promise, and so I have to run this errand.
So he refers to making someone a promise, and now he has to run this errand. But not only that, the individual that is inside the coffin is neither friend nor relative, and they met only once. Meaning it's also a good possibility that he is not a member of the Nameless, since they rode on the train together for a long period of time, and they shared a lot of travels together. So that's not a one-time kind of thing. Now, they could have passed each other at some point. Maybe Akavili went to a planet that Luocha was on whenever he was younger, and then he left the planet at some point. There's that possibility, but I honestly don't believe that Akavili is inside there. I just wanted to bring that point up, since he does talk about an Aeon not being immortal, and then looks over to the coffin all ominously like. Now, one thing I want to bring up real quick is that his gameplay. So I'm just gonna let this play out real quick.
I'll see you off. Eternal.
So Luocha uses his ultimate. First of all, Luocha is imaginary damage type. So he uses his ultimate, and the coffin, what looks like, explodes or opens up, and a bunch of thorns comes shooting out of the coffin, okay? And all of these thorns deals imaginary damage to everyone. So it's either the containment itself, the coffin itself, that's doing the imaginary damage, or the object inside, the person or being inside is doing the imaginary damage. And that's why it's shooting out of the coffin. So there's a good chance that whatever's inside of that coffin will do imaginary damage. And it's not just the coffin itself. Now, I want to bring up that Luocha is the Honkai Impact version, or Honkai Star Rail version of Auto Apocalypse, or Auto or Archive Apocalypse, whatever you want to call them, which is from the Honkai Impact universe. Now, like I was saying before, he is one of the few characters, him and Welt are the only two characters that we know of that are actually from the Honkai Impact universe that went over to Honkai Star Rail, meaning that this is the Honkai Star Rail version of this character from Honkai Impact, which is in the same universe. So this is just the Honkai Star Rail version of Auto Apocalypse. I don't believe that they are the same person. I believe that this is actually just the Honkai Star Rail version of Auto. Now, let's talk about Welt. So Welt, since Otto has his own version, of character from the Honkai Star Rail universe, then that means that Welt also has his own Honkai Star Rail universe version that he just hasn't met yet. Now, Welt does imaginary damage. Now, you might be seeing where I'm lining things up now. There is a possibility that Luocha is carrying the Honkai Star Rail version of Welt inside the casket after he met Otto in the, he could be like, oh, this guy that I met is me, just from another universe, and he's asking me to carry this dead body, so I guess I'm gonna do that. So, and also I want to add that in the story, Luocha hasn't met Welt yet in the story. So if, let's say we play the next story mission that comes out, the next main story mission that comes out, and Welt shows up and he meets Luocha, not just Welt freaks out because Luocha looks exactly like Otto, but if Luocha freaks out, then that means that there's a good chance that the person in the casket is in fact the Honkai Star Rail version of Welt. And that's why, you know, we haven't met that person yet. Now, these are just theories. Some of these theories might become a little more concrete in the future, depending on, you know, how these two characters interact with one another once they actually meet in the main story quest. But we're just gonna have to wait and find out. Now, thank you guys for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and as always, Johnny.